Hey guys, welcome to the new Escoop for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is our 6th episode, and we drop a new episode every Tuesday. And today, we have some breaking news in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and regarding the banned list. Now, if you watched our last video, you would know that as of last week, Konami made an announcement that there are no locals, there's no regionals, there's no official tournaments from Konami going on right now. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a weird state right now, and if you want to know more, you can watch last week's video. It'll pop up at the end of this video. But let's talk about the new ban list. So, starting off with the cards that got banned, and keep in mind, this goes into effect right as soon as April 1st strikes on 2020. Now, remember, the only weird thing is there's not going to be necessarily any official tournaments going on, just a ton of test playing, and including the new master rule, we're in for a big change up for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame. Now, let's talk about some of these banned cards. You got Blackwing, Steam the Cloak. You've got Destrudo, the Dragon Frisian. You've got Glow Up Bulb. You've got Luna Light Tiger. And you've got Spiral Master Plan. Now, no cards were banned that are spells. No Exceed monsters. No Synchro monsters were banned. So we're kind of just sitting here bracing for how this new master rule and how this new ban list is going to impact us. Now, I will highlight some of these do represent the fact that synchro monsters may be very powerful, and that's why they are limiting and getting rid of some of these powerful tuners. Let's take a look at the limited to one list, and let's start with the spells in the extra deck. Right off the bat, some cards that people would probably initially have thought would get hit. Instant Fusion, Mind Control, TG Hyper Librarian. You've also got a little bit of the Trishula action, which is huge because nobody enjoys being looped or trished multiple times in a turn. And then you've also got Zodiac Barrage. So you've got a lot of different decks that they're hitting with this ban list, and the TCG list is a little bit different than the OCG list. So when you talk about how this is going to impact the meta, I mean, you can obviously tell they're trying to hit synchros so the synchros do not become too overpowering. Now, how is this going to affect other decks? It's going to allow other decks to actually exist. Because I think if you didn't limit Trish, if you didn't limit TJ Hyper Librarian, you might be in for a really, really long format. Now, what else did they limit to one? Remember, this is some of these cards they went ahead and straight up went from the semi-limited list. Some of these cards were actually forbidden. So let's start off with the card that was actually forbidden, Zodiac Trident. So card coming off of the ban list, as well as a card being limited to one and totally awesome, as we're looking at the power of the extra decks and decks that can just pump out level 4s, guys. So really, a lot of these hits are to make sure that decks are not going out of control in terms of spamming the field, even though we all know somehow or another, guys, decks are going to find a way to do that. That's kind of what they're built to do. 2-card combos that result in full fields, locks, combos, things of that nature. Yu-Gi-Oh! May have a different year, but the objective is still the same. And if you're trying to build one of these new decks, one of the best hints I can give you as somebody who's built decks for decades at a highly competitive level, you usually want to combo off and then lock your opponent from comboing. So if you can do that with some of these new combo decks as we see them coming up, that's going to be huge. I can give you examples: Royal Oppression and Teledad, Banisher of the Radiance and Agents. You could go on down the list of Fossil Dyna in decks like Elemental Dragons. You always want to have a card that you lock the field down and then you basically protect it. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the cards that were limited to 2. So obviously a lot of combo potential when you talk about Destiny Hero Malicious. So that kind of makes sense as to why they went ahead and said, hey, hold on. Is it 3? Let's go ahead and make this 2. And that's going to definitely slow down Malicious. If it was at 3, oh my goodness, there would be some crazy interesting combos. And then you've also got the Sky Striker Window Wanker. So, you've got a couple of different cards that got hit. And then when you get on to the cards that are no longer on the list, which is actually really interesting to me, Pot of Avarice. Quite an interesting card that I think is actually going to see some play with potentially some gimmicks. Necroface being at 3, obviously that could be an issue for some of those gimmick decks as well, but I doubt that we'll see that. And then Deep Sea Diva. Well, Deep Sea Diva is just a really, really interesting tech card that I think water decks can obviously take advantage of, but I don't necessarily see it becoming a huge issue in other synchro decks of that nature. So I honestly, out of all these cards, I would look at Pot of Avarice having the biggest impact. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys haven't forgot, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. We would definitely appreciate it. It allows our content to reach more people. It allows our channel to grow. And we hope that we were able to bring you this news as some of the first people that are covering this ban list. And if you want more coverage of specific cards, specific decks, please drop that in the comments. And if you want to see some epic gameplay of Dino Rabbit from 2011, Plants from 2011, around that same time period, I think it's 2012 actually for the Dino Rabbit. But you can go ahead and check us out on Twitch. We do live stream old classic Yu-Gi-Oh decks. If you guys are interested in hearing me talk about some of the classic old Yu-Gi-Oh decks, Diamond Dude Turbo, Magical Explosion, Magical Scientist, the Catapult Turtle FTK, Diamond Dude Turbo. Guys, I'm very familiar with a lot of those old classic decks. So if you guys want me to kind of show you guys some of the intricate combos with those, maybe talk about those a little bit more, feel free to drop that in the comments. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Please stay safe during these crazy times, and see you later.